Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The co-promoter for Tyson Fury, Bob Arum, is defending the upcoming opponent for the Gypsy King, which is going to be Otto Wallin. That has officially been confirmed now. I'll get to the press release and a few quotes soon, but first I want to focus on Arum's comments, but also this is going to be on ESPN+. Does this actually help Tyson Fury build his profile, given it's a relatively low-profile opponent? But also, there's been some ardent Tyson Fury supporters saying in recent weeks, look, who else, aside from Otto Wallin, could Tyson Fury have realistically fought? So we'll get into that as well. But starting with Bob Arum, so you can see here on screen, on Twitter saying, fans who think Fury has an easy fight on his hands against Otto Wallin are mistaken. The undefeated Wallin is a hell of a fighter. I'm old enough to remember another Swede, Ingemar Johansson, who stunned the world when he knocked out Floyd Patterson at Yankee Stadium in 1959. So Arum is trying to draw some parallels to a former Swede, the only real high-profile Swede in the last sort of 50 years, who has been at the top of the heavyweight division, Ingemar Johansson. But you may recall he kind of did that with Tom Schwarz as well. As a Boxing Center below in this comment here points out that Bob Arum did compare Tom Schwarz to Max Schmeling. So now Wallin is Ingemar Johansson. So I guess Bob Arum is doing what a promoter has to. This may not have been the opponent that he ideally would have wanted for Tyson Fury, but it's the opponent that's in place now. So he has to do his best to sell the fight now because that's his job. And it does kind of sound a little bit ludicrous because obviously Otto Wallin, very different fighter from Ingemar Johansson, doesn't necessarily have the same sort of power, doesn't fight the same sort of way. But also Ingemar Johansson had probably achieved a bit more in his career to the point that he had that title shot. And this is for the lineal title. So it's an invisible belt, but it is a status within the heavyweight division that Tyson Fury does have, the man who beat the man. But I think for most of us, we would have preferred that Tyson Fury was facing someone a little bit stiffer in terms of competition, more on his level, because Otto Wallin, I do regard him as a decent heavyweight. He is better than Tom Schwarz. I can say that quite comfortably. He is better than Schwarz, but he is very unproven, just like Schwarz. So he's missed out some of these step-up fights that he should have had before getting to Tyson Fury. So Bob Arum can say all that he wants, but we're not really going to know how good Otto Wallin is against an opponent like Tyson Fury until fight night. And as we found out with Tom Schwarz, sometimes that can end in an early night and an embarrassing night for Tom Schwarz in June 15th. So will that be the same fate for Otto Wallin? Well, the bookies are already starting to wade in on that, and I think the odds will probably reflect where most people believe that the two are. Tyson Fury will be a heavy favourite for this fight. I do expect Wallin will go in there. He'll be a bit cagey to begin with. He is a southpaw. He's got good technical skills. He's a decent mover, but he's largely unproven. I don't expect he's going to win this fight, but, you know, stranger things have happened. Maybe Tyson Fury will get injured in the ring, but I'm not expecting it. I think Tyson Fury, just like the Tom Schwarz fight, will come through this relatively comfortably enough. In terms of the criticism from people of this fight, which obviously this has been out there for a couple of weeks now that Wallin was going to be the opponent. It was all over bar the shouting. We hadn't had the official announcement, but that's come now. But I'll just get to the BoxRec top 20 because there has been a number of ardent Fury supporters saying, well, who could he have fought? And in the context of the heavyweight division today, we effectively have three different silos. So you have Frank Warren working with ESPN and Top Rank. You also have PBC working with Showtime and Fox. You have DAZN working with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom and also Sky Sports. So there's three distinct silos. And when you go down here in terms of the options, Andy Ruiz, no, that's not an option. Wilder, Joshua, Povetkin, no, that's not an option. Some of these guys are either tied up or in the wrong promotional stables or working with other rival promoters at this current time. That also goes for Dillian Whyte. Jarrell Miller, he was bandied about as an option, but he's currently on a drugs ban, so he was never going to get his license for September 14th. Luis Ortiz, no. Kubrat Pulev, well, that could have been an option, but Pulev obviously wants his title shot. He's owed one through his IBF mandatory status. Adam Kovnatski, no. Joseph Parker, no. Derek Chisora, no. Dominic Brazil, no. Oscar Rivas, no. Christian Hammer, that could have been a possible, but he's fought him before, been there, done that, got the postcard. Number 16 in the BoxRec top 20, Gerald Washington, he's in the wrong promotional stable. Filip Ergovic, same again. Joe Joyce, David Price and Charles Martin, all no, no, no. And there had been talk about names like Charles Martin and Gerald Washington, and we heard that Charles Martin said no. And I think that's partly because he's with PBCs in the wrong promotional stable. They're not going to be giving Top Rank a leg up here. And some of this makes me wonder, will this eventual fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, the rematch, will it actually happen? And for his part, Tyson Fury, is he doing enough? Because, Tom Schwartz and now Otto Wallin. And this is actually going to be on ESPN+. So, see here on screen, this is the press release, ESPN+, Encore, lineal heavyweight champion Tyson Fury returns to Las Vegas September 14 against Otto Wallin live on ESPN+. I'll get to a couple of quotes soon, but I wanted to talk about that because we know that ESPN's got tens of millions of subscribers. It's something like 86, 87 million subscribers. ESPN Plus is a much smaller streaming platform. It's about 4 million or so, 3.5 to 4 million. So with that in mind, facing an opponent in Otto Wallin that people aren't necessarily going to want to see, they're not clamoring to see Wallin. It's Fury who is the attraction here, but he's fighting a relative no-name in some respects. What does that do for his profile? He's on the smaller ESPN Plus platform, which presumably they have to have it there because Tyson Fury is going to be paid millions and millions of dollars. So they have a bigger pot for ESPN Plus fights. So how do you get the casuals in who are already locked out from ESPN Plus if they don't have it? But how do you build that interest in terms of a future fight with Deontay Wilder? You're having these fights on ESPN Plus, so it's not available to everyone on regular ESPN. I would have thought that it's kind of with these sorts of opponents, you would rather have them on the regular ESPN because then it is exposed to a much broader audience. You can try convince some of those casuals that this is the next best thing and that you should be interested in his upcoming fight with Deontay Wilder at some point in 2020. But having it on the smaller platform on ESPN Plus, I know why they need to do it that way, but I'm just not sure that that's going to help. But if we get to some of the quotes here, so Bob Arum, who'd previously said that Tyson Fury was the biggest act in Las Vegas since Elvis, he is saying here in the press release, Tyson Fury electrified Las Vegas last time he fought, and he is set to do so again against a tough kid in Otto Wallin. Tyson knows what's at stake, and I expect him to have another masterful performance. He is the best heavyweight in the world and is only beginning to show everyone what he's capable of. Well, I'm pretty sure we've seen the best of Tyson Fury, or at least what was considered the best, when he beat Vladimir Klitschko. I think that was what he was capable of, wasn't it? Dethroning a long-time champion. So Fury himself says, I'm pleased to be back in Las Vegas. I loved my time in my last fight, and I'm going to put on a show at the T-Mobile Arena. Otto Wallin is a world-ranked fighter and is tall, something we want for Deontay Wilder rematch around the corner. He's also a southpaw, which will bring its own obstacles. But I will be fully focused to get this job done because the rematch needs to happen. And I'll just interject there. Why is he facing a southpaw? Which is another question no one's really answered here because Deontay Wilder is not a southpaw. He's an orthodox fighter. He might be a bit unorthodox, but Otto Wallin is a very sort of traditional, sort of technical type of fighter from the southpaw position. So it's not like he's in southpaw style Deontay Wilder with a massive left hand and, a bit all over the place. That's not Wallin at all. So Frank Warren, and I'll just quickly note, so I did have a look at frankwarren.com, you can see here on screen. The press release was pretty much word for word, except they brought Frank Warren's quote up to the top here, which I'll go through on the ESPN one. He says, I'm delighted that Tyson is boxing in Las Vegas again after his previous success. It's another undefeated boxer that he's facing and a contest where a victory will set up the Deontay Wilder rematch. Otto Wallin knows this is a big chance and Tyson will not be underestimating him. I would have thought, given this is in September 14, Tyson Fury is going to want to push for one more fight this year. I'm almost certain of it. Having it in September, I think they'll want to wheel him out again in December. I don't think Fury will want to go for the best part of 6 months before a rematch with Wilder, because the earliest that they would have it would be February 2020, right? And there has been talk that it could be as late as April 2020, possibly even May 2020. So if you were fighting in September and Fury said he needs to be active, needs to be busy, I don't see him sitting idle for the best part of 6 to 8 months. I think he will have another fight in 2019, and he's even spoken before about wanting to have 3 fights in 2019 and another fight in December-ish. That would certainly fit the bill. And obviously trying to build his profile a bit more in the United States, they're probably after these 2 lower level opponents compared to what most people were expecting. They'll need to have another fight just to keep him sort of bubbling away and building a fan base, if in fact that's actually happening at the moment. So Wallin says, "This is the type of fight I've been waiting for since I was a kid, and my father started showing me some boxing moves in our kitchen. I've made a lot of sacrifices to get to this point, and I'm very happy it's starting to pay off. I want to thank my team and my supporters for making this happen." And the mention of by Wallin there of his father, he recently died. There is a few articles up talking about sort of Wallin and his life, that sort of stuff that has emerged in the last week or so. Father tragically died in the last few months. So Wallin says, "I know I'm an underdog in this fight, but I'm ready for this opportunity and I'm going to grab it with both hands. Anybody can get beat, especially in the heavyweight division. I like the fact I have everything to gain and Tyson has everything to lose." What do you make of Bob Arum's comments? Obviously, he's trying to talk this up, do his job as a promoter, but yeah, Otto Wallin is very unproven in my book. He's more proven than Tom Schwartz was in terms of some of the opposition that he'd faced. He had a decent win over Adrian Granat. That's in part helped propel him up the WBA rankings, where he's ranked number 4 currently. And there have been a number of people saying that Wallin has magically appeared in the rankings, but that's just not true. That is false. He's been in or around the WBA rankings for the best part of well over a year now. He's also in the IBF rankings. So it's not a case of someone just appears in the rankings to suit the other opponent in Tyson Fury. It's the fact he was in the rankings so high that has got him this fight. It's not the other way around. But Wallin certainly is facing an uphill battle here. Tyson Fury, a hot favourite. Despite what Bob Arum is saying, this will be one-way traffic, and I expect Otto Wallin to be beaten and beaten handily by Fury. But I think he will show a bit more than Tom Schwartz did. I don't think it's going to be a sort of 1 or 2 round knockover job. He might take Tyson Fury a few more rounds. He's going to be a bit more elusive than Tom Schwartz was. But what do you make of this fight? Officially confirmed, what do you make of Bob Arum's comments? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.